My sister broke into my bridal shop and destroyed a $18,000 wedding dress for a graduation party. I want to start with the text message that ended my relationship with my sister for good. It was 11:47 p.m. on a Saturday, and it said, "Okay, don't be mad, but I need to tell you something before you see it tomorrow. I run a small bridal boutique. It's called something Blue Bridal, and it's in a strip of shops just outside downtown. The kind of place where the awning is a little faded, but the inside smells like fresh flowers and steam from the pressing machine. I built this place from nothing. 6 years ago, I was doing alterations out of my apartment, hemming prom dresses for $40 a pop, and now I have a real storefront with a fitting room with the good lighting, 3 employees, and a waitlist of brides who found me through word of mouth. My sister Madison is 5 years younger than me. She just graduated college. And 2 days before that text message, she walked into my shop, used a spare key she was never supposed to still have, and took the single most expensive dress I have ever had in my store. A custom, hand-beaded Italian lace gown that a bride named Vanessa was set to try on for the very last fitting before her wedding, in less than 9 days. Madison wore it to a graduation party. In a backyard, with a bonfire. By the time it came back to me, it wasn't a wedding dress anymore. It was a rag, but that's not even the worst part. The worst part is what my sister said when I confronted her, and the video that surfaced 12 hours later proving she'd been lying to my face the entire time. I need to back up, though, because you're not going to understand how this happened unless you understand my family first. I'm the oldest of 2. Madison is the baby. And in my family, baby was never just a birth order, it was a job title. Growing up, if I got a B, my parents asked what happened. If Madison got a B, they said she was well-rounded. When I wanted to go to community college first to save money, my dad called it responsible. When Madison decided, at 19, to take a gap year to find herself, and my parents footed the bill for a trip to Europe, that was called an investment in her growth. I'm not saying this to whine. I'm saying it because it matters for what happens later. My parents have spent 27 years training all 3 of us to believe that whatever Madison wants, Madison should get. And whoever stands in her way is the problem. I opened my shop when I was 26. My parents helped a little with the first month's rent, which I paid back within a year, and I have worked 6 days a week, every week since. I don't take vacations. I skipped my own college roommate's destination wedding because I couldn't close the shop for 4 days during peak season. This business is genuinely the only thing in my adult life I have built entirely myself, brick by brick, and everyone in my family knows exactly how much it means to me. About 3 weeks before all of this happened, Madison graduated with her degree in communications. There was a big to-do planned, a joint graduation party with 2 of her sorority sisters, at a rented property with a DJ, string lights, the whole production. Madison wanted, in her words, one main character moment for pictures. She asked to borrow a dress from my shop. I said no. Not because I'm cruel, but because every single dress on my racks is either a sample gown reserved for fittings, a custom order that belongs to a paying client, or inventory I'd have to explain a stain or a snag-on to a bride who is paying 5 figures for perfection. I told Madison I could take her shopping for something nice, my treat, at a regular dress shop. She said that wasn't the same. She wanted something designer. She wanted people to ask where it was from. My mom got involved. She called me and said, and I quote, "Would it kill you to let your sister feel special for one night? You have all those dresses just sitting there. Those dresses are not just sitting there. Those dresses are earmarked, insured. And in some cases, already paid for in full by women who are trusting me with the most important outfit of their lives." I said no again. I thought that was the end of it. I want to introduce you to Vanessa here because she matters more than almost anyone else in this story. Vanessa was a client of mine for 8 months. She wasn't from money. She and her fiancé had saved for 2 years for this wedding, and the dress was the one splurge she allowed herself. It was a made-to-order Italian lace gown, hand-beaded bodice, a cathedral train. Sourced through a small atelier overseas, because Vanessa had fallen in love with a picture of it and refused to compromise. It cost the shop just under $18,000 to source and construct to her measurements, non-refundable the moment we placed the order. Vanessa had already paid in full. Her wedding was 9 days away. Her final fitting, the one where we'd do the last adjustments, and she'd see it completely finished for the first time, was scheduled for Sunday morning. The dress had been in my shop, in a locked garment closet, since Thursday. Saturday night, Madison's graduation party happened. I wasn't there. I found out what happened the way most people my age find out anything, through a screenshot. My best friend Priya, who's known Madison since we were kids, texted me around 10 p.m. "Okay, this is probably nothing, but isn't this the dress from your shop?" Attached to a photo one of Madison's sorority sisters had posted, tagged from the party. It was a picture of Madison, mid-laugh, cup in hand, standing by a bonfire in a floor-length ivory lace gown with a cathedral train pooled in the grass around her feet. I knew that dress. I had steamed that dress myself 2 days earlier. I called the shop's landline first, some irrational hope that maybe it was still there, and this was some other dress. No answer, obviously, since it was closed. I drove over at 10:40 p.m. in my pajamas. The back door, the one that leads in from the alley, the one Madison used to have a key to years ago when she helped out part-time one summer. A key I genuinely forgot she still had, was unlocked. Not broken, unlocked, like someone had let themselves in and out without a second thought. The garment closet where Vanessa's dress had been hanging was open. Empty hanger, gone. I sat on the floor of my own shop for probably 10 minutes before I could make myself call my sister. She didn't answer until the 4th try, at almost midnight. When she finally picked up, she was laughing, music in the background, clearly still at the party or an after-party. "Madison, where is the dress?" "What dress?" Genuine confusion in her voice or a very good performance of it. "The dress from the closet. The one you're wearing in the picture Priya just sent me." Long pause. Then, "Okay, don't be mad, but I'll bring it back tomorrow. It's totally fine, nothing happened to it." I told her I was driving to wherever she was, right now, to get it. She said she'd already left it somewhere safe and would bring it to me in the morning. I told her if that dress was not in my hands within the hour, I was calling the police and reporting a break-in and a theft, sister or not. She showed up at my apartment at 1:15 a.m. She was still in the same dress, sitting on the passenger seat when I opened her car door, and I nearly threw up when I saw it under the streetlight. There was a wine-colored stain, the size of a dinner plate soaked into the bodice, right over the hand beading, that had already started to set. The hem, the one with the delicate lace edge Vanessa had specifically requested match a photo of her late grandmother's dress, was torn in 2 places and caked in mud and grass stains up to the knee. There was a small burn hole near the waist, a cigarette, someone told me later, that had melted a section of the beading into the fabric itself. The zipper in the back had been forced and was bent, half the teeth no longer functional. It smelled like bonfire smoke, spilled beer, and something sweet, maybe punch. I remember just standing in the parking lot holding this ruined dress against my chest, and Madison saying, "It's not that bad. We can get it cleaned." There is no dry cleaner on earth that fixes hand-beaded Italian lace with a cigarette burn melted into it. I asked her point blank, why would you do this? And she said something I will never forget: "You never let me have anything nice. You have this whole store full of beautiful dresses, and you've never once let me feel like that." I just wanted one night. Sunday morning, Vanessa arrived for her final fitting at 10 a.m., glowing, her mother next to her, both of them so excited they were practically vibrating. I had spent the entire night trying to figure out what to say to her, and there was no version of the truth that didn't sound insane. "My sister broke into my shop and wore your wedding dress to a bonfire party." I told her the truth anyway, because she deserved it, and because lying would only make things worse later. Vanessa didn't scream, She didn't cry, not right away. She just went very, very quiet, and then she asked to see it. I brought it out from the back, and when she saw the stain, the burn, the torn hem, something in her face just broke. Her mother was the one who started crying. Vanessa's wedding was in 9 days. There was no possible way to source, custom fit, and finish a replacement gown like that on that timeline. Within 2 hours, I had a message from a lawyer. Not aggressive, not threatening, just factual. Vanessa's family was well within their rights to pursue damages for breach of contract, and they intended to. My insurance would cover some of it, but not all, and definitely not fast enough to fix the actual problem. There was no dress for this bride's wedding in 9 days. Here's where the story could have just been a sad, quiet tragedy. It didn't stay quiet, though, because of a video. Madison's roommate, it turned out, had filmed a good chunk of the party on her phone, the kind of raw footage people take for their own private Snapchat memories. Not necessarily meant for the public feed. Priya, digging around out of loyalty to me, found a version of it that had leaked into a group chat and eventually got forwarded to me. In the video, at the party, someone off camera asks Madison where she got the dress. Madison, clearly a few drinks in, twirls in the middle of the yard and says, laughing directly into the camera, "It's my sister's from her bridal shop. It's like an $18,000 dress. Don't tell her, she'll actually kill me. $18,000. The exact figure. She knew exactly what she was wearing. She knew exactly whose dress it was, and exactly how much it cost, before she ever sat down near that bonfire, before the wine, before the cigarette. This wasn't a drunken accident or a moment of confusion. She had planned this, known the value the entire time, and gambled that totally fine, nothing happened, would be enough to make it disappear. My parents' response, when I showed them everything, the video, the dress, the lawyer's letter, was to ask me to handle it quietly for the family's sake. My mother's exact words were, "She's about to start her career, Claire. Don't ruin her life over a dress." I told my mother that my sister had already ruined someone else's life first, a stranger, a bride. A woman who had saved for 2 years for this one dress, and now had 9 days and nothing. I wasn't the one who broke into a building and destroyed $18,000 of someone else's property. I was just the person refusing to pretend it didn't happen. I filed a police report for the break-in and the theft. I also had a civil attorney send Madison formal notice that I would be pursuing her directly for damages, separate from whatever Vanessa's family pursued against my business insurance. My parents did not speak to me for almost 3 weeks. Vanessa's story has a better ending than I expected, and I want to give her that credit here. When another bridal shop 2 towns overheard what had happened, small industry, everyone talks, the owner, a woman I'd met at a trade show years ago, offered a nearly identical sample gown from her own floor at cost, and 3 of us worked around the clock for a week doing emergency alterations. It wasn't the exact custom dress Vanessa had dreamed of, but it fit her, it was beautiful, and she wore it down the aisle 9 days later. I didn't charge her a cent for the rush alterations. It was the least I could do. Madison's story went differently. The police report led to a formal restitution order once the case went through. She was ordered to repay the shop's actual losses tied directly to the break-in and destruction of property. Since the insurance claim only covered a portion, and specifically excluded intentional third-party damage, it came out to a little over $11,000 once everything was accounted for. She also picked up a misdemeanor on her record for the unauthorized entry, which, as she found out 3 months later, became a problem when a communications firm she'd interviewed with pulled her background check and quietly moved on to another candidate. I'm adding this update because a few people who heard the first version of this asked what happened after. Madison is currently paying off the restitution order in monthly installments, garnished directly from the part-time retail job she took after the communications firm didn't work out. My parents, to their credit, eventually came around, not right away, but once they sat with the video, And once they had to watch Madison actually face a consequence for the first time in her life. Something shifted. My dad called me about 6 weeks ago and said, plainly, "We should have believed you the first time." That's the closest thing to an apology I think I'll ever get from him, and honestly, it was enough. Madison sent me a handwritten letter about 2 months in, apologizing, really apologizing, not the "I'm sorry you're mad" kind we'd had before. She said watching the video back sober was the first time she actually understood what she'd taken from a total stranger, not just from me. "We're not close right now. I don't know if we will be again anytime soon. But I no longer feel like I'm the villain in my own family for expecting my sister to face what everyone else has to face when they break into a building and destroy something that isn't theirs." Vanessa sends me a photo from her wedding every year around her anniversary. She's smiling in every single one. That's the part of this whole mess I'm actually proud of.
Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this story and want more fascinating Reddit tales, don't forget to hit that like button, share this video with your friends, and subscribe to Archives of Reddit. Turn on the notification bell so you never miss a new upload. Thanks for being here, and we'll see you in the next story.